Getting smooth, cinematic video has never been more affordable to land those cinematic hero shots. At $249, the Zhiyun Cinepeer Weebill 3E offers high-end features but at a fraction of the price. But the most important question, is it right for you? Or should you consider the Crane 4, able to carry twice the payload but at a much larger price tag? I've had the Cinepeer Weebill 3E for a couple of months, and it didn't take long to set up and calibrate before I started getting my first hero shots, using the Canon EOS R5 with a 50mm f1.2. I'm not using ND filters. I'm shooting 4K at 120 frames per second. And that slower frame rate, well, it provides a softer footage, but it does slow things down significantly more, delivering that smooth cinematic video. The Weebill 3E weighs about 2.3 pounds or 1 kilogram, the same weight as the Weebill 3S, but considerably lighter than the Crane 4 at 1.67 kilos or 3.68 pounds. Now, Zhiyun doesn't specify the maximum payload per se, but if you take a look at some of their heaviest lenses and cameras supported, the Canon EOS R5 with the RF 50mm f1.2, well, that reaches up to about 3.7 pounds, and it's one of the heaviest kits supported. The front trigger enters Go mode, repositions the 3E, enters selfie mode, or can be customized to whatever function you like, while the control wheel can be set to control the camera's aperture, shutter, ISO, and focus. Or it can also be used to control the motors of the 3E, the roll axis, tilt axis, and pan axis. On the back, we have the touchscreen. The touchscreen allows easy access to all the controls, settings, and other functions like calibration. And the joystick has to be one of the most important controls because it gives you complete directional control over the camera. Then there's the mode and record button, everything in reach of one hand. But now it's time to show you all the modes available to you in the Weebill 3E. Pan follow mode is the mode I use most of the time. Locking the tilt axis and roll axis makes for some really amazing hero shots. It's also terrific for doing vehicle shots, whether you're on foot, on a bicycle, or from another vehicle. Choose follow mode if you need to tilt the camera up or down. Only the axis motor is locked in this mode. And locked mode is one of those very interesting modes because it keeps the camera completely focused ahead, never veering off. And then there's POV mode. POV mode frees up all motors, allowing the gimbal full range of movement. I don't recommend starting off with this mode if you're new to a gimbal, but it is great when you need to respond to movement in any direction. While vortex mode is a fun and creative mode, allowing you to rotate the camera around your subject or creating one of those tunnel effects. And the last mode is portrait mode, great for the TikTok generation that believes televisions should be mounted vertically. And think of Go mode as POV mode, but on steroids. It's just far more responsive. So back to my original question. At $249, is the Zhiyun Cinepeer Weebill 3E right for you? Or would you be better off getting the 3S or even the Crane 4? While the 3E's motors aren't nearly as powerful as the Crane 4, when properly balanced, I had no issues getting these hero shots. However, when you are selecting the camera's dials and buttons, use a light touch to prevent throwing the 3E off balance. Simply use one hand to brace the camera while you're making the camera adjustments. But the Crane 4 with its much stronger motors doesn't have this problem because it's designed to handle much heavier payloads. And when it comes to heavier payloads, the Weebill 3E can handle heavy lenses such as the RF 24-105, the RF 15-35, or even the RF 24-70mm. However, with the 3E's weaker motors, if you're going to be shooting with a lens such as the 24-105 and you've got it balanced for 24 or 35mm and you want to move it to then 50 or 70, I'd recommend rebalancing and calibrating to ensure smooth operation. However, the Crane 4's more powerful motors can support the 24-105 balanced at 50mm, and changing to 105 or 24, well, it's not going to require rebalancing or calibration. If you're new to a gimbal, you're looking at doing this as part of a hobby, or you're planning on shooting with a lot of primes, I think you really can't go wrong purchasing the Weebill 3E. The 3E offers incredible value, giving you all the same gimbal modes that you get in high-end models such as the Crane 4, but at a fraction of the price. Another benefit to the Weebill 3E, it's light and small. It can easily fit into your carry-on luggage, which is great for travel. But if time matters, you're a professional, and you're constantly working with heavy kit, from zooms and cameras weighing up to 13 pounds, well, you're going to be much happier with the Crane 4. You can adjust the focal length from 24 to 50 to 105 without having to rebalance or recalibrate. And one time, I was in a rush, I switched out the 24 to 105 with a 50mm f1.2, and I didn't even bother to calibrate or rebalance because I was in a hurry, and you know what? I didn't have any issues whatsoever. Regardless of whichever model you get, consider getting the optional sling arm. It makes getting those low shots much easier. At $249, the Weebill 3E offers incredible value, much lower than the Weebill 3S combo at $439, or the Crane 4 combo at $749. And if you're looking at purchasing the Weebill 3E, well, I've got the purchase links in the description down below. I've got them for Zhiyun themselves. You can order directly from the company. I've got Amazon, B&H, and Adorama. For me personally, well, I'm going to keep the Crane 4 as my go-to heavy-duty workforce with the sling arm and the wrist guard. And I'm going to keep the Weebill 3E for travel because look at these two guys side by side and you can clearly see that the Crane 4 is a bigger, more robust gimbal. It's really powerful. It can handle payloads of up to 13 pounds. And what I really love about the sling arm is the ability to get those low-end shots. It's very, very versatile, very powerful. And these motors are very, very strong. But it's $749 for this kit as it stands. Whereas the Weebill, the 3E, $249, and it's really light too. That's one of the things that's a big advantage of getting this kit at $249. Now this is without the sling arm. With the sling arm, it does add about $196. It gives you the sling arm and the wrist guard, which bolts on right to the bottom here. And I really do like the sling arm, but if you're thinking a budget to begin with, you know, $249, if you're not going to be shooting every day, if you're not going to be shooting for 4 to 6 hours at a time, I don't think you're going to have that much of a problem. And what's really nice is it's currently, tripod comes with it. You can take this off and put on other attachments, so you can actually put it on a really tall boom, and you can still easily get those low shots. So at $249, I just think it's an absolutely terrific value. It's amazing. Everything today, from house prices to cars to fuel to energy to food prices, everything's going up. And yet when it comes to camera gear and technology, while there are some exceptions, you know, we see prices coming down. And it's not just in gimbals. We see, just take a look at prices for the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, for the Canon EOS R5, they keep coming down in price, the Nikon Z8, the Sony a7S III. I just love to see the value in these things. And if you've never shot with a gimbal, you might get a little frustrated your first time out, but trust me, after shooting for, I would say, a couple of days, maybe an hour or two each day, you just get used to it. Stay in pan follow mode. That's where I would stay until you're really happy with your shots. And what you're going to find is you're going to get really terrific results. But if you have any questions, whether this video was just released today, or you can see from the comments down below that this video was released maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, go ahead and post a question, because I still pay attention to comments that come my way, any questions, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. I've been shooting with gimbals for, oh, how many years now? Maybe the better part of 4 years, and I started with the Ronin S, the first Ronin that came out. That was the first model. I had a little bit of trouble getting used to it. I got so frustrated with it that after 3 days, I sold it. And then Zhiyun came to me and they said, look, would you like to review the Crane 2S? And at first, I thought about it for a few days. I wasn't interested because I had a bad experience. But I found the Crane 2 to be quite useful. But with these new gimbals, the way you have everything positioned, like you've got the joystick right here, you've got the wheel and the trigger right on the front. You've got an LCD here, all the buttons, the mode buttons, everything is accessible right here. You can custom assign functions to these buttons. Gimbals have really come a long way. So thank you so much for watching this video review right to the end. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching.